Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning in studio, and we speak with Mr. Roston Wood. He is a physiotherapist, and we're talking about men's mental health awareness. Good morning and welcome.
Pleasant good morning to you. Pleasant good morning to everyone. The whole of Tobago and by extension Trinidad and Tobago and the world.
That's right, because of course we have a wide viewership. We're talking about a very, very important topic this morning. And we know sometimes we take this category of people, men, for granted. We take our mental health for granted in general. And also we think that men are the stronger gender, and so perhaps they don't have mental situations that they need to attend to. And so we want to bring awareness to the fact that men also need a space where they could feel safe and relaxed and, work on their mental health. They need to be aware of what is the situation happening with me. And I know that you're a physiotherapist, right? And of course, dealing with men, you're a man yourself, and you also might have, some situations that you might, I need a little 5 minutes on a bench somewhere, to relax and de-stress. So talk us through how did we get to this place where we have to come to an awareness of our body, what our body is saying, and the things we can do to de-stress.
Well, most times we always have the view that men are supermen, and there are no situations that is beyond us. And no matter what comes at us, we always have to deal with it. So we often hear that we shouldn't be emotional. If there's a problem, we often are the ones who would fix things. And there are a lot of times that we would hide that we are a little down emotionally, or we might need a little help, or we just need a little place to get away, to rejuvenate ourselves and stuff. Now, as a physical therapist, when patients come to us, we don't only treat their underlying problem. We look at them from a whole holistic level, and we look at what are the events that would normally cause these conditions. And most times when we do our evaluations, is because these people are in a stressful environment that also result in these conditions that we have to treat. So then now, in order to set our treatment, we have to do a whole holistic treatment plan for them.
And you said something earlier when you say people think that men are superheroes, and they think that when you have a problem, you can't be too emotional about it. You just get it solved and leave it as it is. But sometimes, like if you get emotional or you seek any type of help, let's say therapy, like therapeutical type of help, people think that's a weakness. But for me as a woman, if a man seeks help, for me that's his strength, for me. And I want us to kind of break the notion, viewers, of men seeking help. There's nothing wrong with that. A man is a human being first and foremost, right? And so when he has the stresses of life, you have to go somewhere to release it. Otherwise, you can cripple yourself, right? What does your body say when you're holding on to stress and you're not trying to release it in terms of taking a walk in the park or sitting on a bench, going for a swim somewhere? How does your body respond to that type of stress?
Well, your body responds in plenty ways. Sometimes you will see it on your skin. So sometimes people will have breakout on their skin. Sometimes you will see people, in terms of their activity level, they will have a reduced activity. Their energy level is a little bit low. Their performance output is a lot low. So there are a lot of ways, or they tend to get sick a lot more often than somebody who is in a less stressful environment. So there are a lot of ways that this stress can manifest itself onto someone who is in this situation.
And what are some of the things you can do to de-stress, to get away from the building up to the point where you're becoming unwell? What are some of the things you can do when you start realizing things getting too heavy for me?
Okay, there are a lot of things that we can do, but I'm going to break it down into it's about 3 to 4 points. The first thing is this: setting deadlines. A lot of us, and I will often tell my clients, if you do not set unrealistic deadlines, so if you know that you can perform a task, let's just say in about, if you know that you can perform a task in half a day, Don't tell that person that you will accomplish that task in half a day. Tell that person you'll take a day to finish it. That gives you enough time to comfortably perform that task and accomplish it without putting yourself in that situation, right? Many times we would wait close to the deadline to start the project, or sometimes you never know what could happen. There are some things that could come up that could cause a delay, and then definitely put you in a stressful situation. My family, we often have a nice little laugh with my dad. When he's traveling, he doesn't like to put himself in any stress. So when he's traveling, he would have a nice little list that he would write out weeks in advance. And when it's coming up time for him to travel, he would go through this list and make sure and pack his things. We all are in stress because we have to get these things together. But he would make sure and pack his things. And when he's ready to travel, he ensures that we are at the airport about 3 hours before.
That's a man of wisdom.
Yes. So we learned that from him, that you don't put yourself in these stressful situations that will cause that.
And I like the fact of the setting the deadline things in terms of being realistic. I like not having to rush to force yourself.
Yes.
I am guilty of that sometimes because I work really, and I shouldn't be putting this out here, but I'm okay under pressure sometimes when I come to a deadline, and I'm guilty of getting there. So yes, I have to pay attention to that level of advice, pace yourself and do stuff like that. What are some of the other things that you can do, especially when it comes to nature? Because I hear a lot of people saying that nature is something that can refresh you and recenter you. So how can we integrate using what we have to relax?
We are lucky to live in an island where it is green and serene. And not because you're working in a stressful situation, that doesn't mean that you have to always stay in that environment. For example, Tobago has a lot of lovely beaches. It has a lot of forts around that you can just leave your work and just go and distress. So sometimes you're in this work, you're in a stressful environment. During your lunchtime, instead of eating in a job, take a drive, go up to the fort, have lunch there, go to the beach, just sit. You don't have to bathe. You can bathe, not because you go to the beach is an excursion. Sometimes a simple bath, like a 15 to 20 minute bath, you go there, sit, relax, rejuvenate yourself, and go back. Always, the important thing is this: get a safe space away from everyone that you can just go get away and just distress.
The last part you said, they get away from everyone. You know, sometimes the noise, and it's not necessarily it being noisy, but the demands of other people around you. You're at work, your supervisor want this, your co-worker want this, the person sitting next to you wants to borrow your pen. It's like so many things happening at the same time while you're also carrying what is happening at home perhaps, or what is happening with a negotiation elsewhere. And you know, sometimes it really is good to get away from what is happening and just focus on where you are. In terms of trying to identify what your stress is and isolating yourself from the stress, how do you see men kind of trying to figure out, yes, I know I have all of this to do, but let me try to focus on you? Do you see men actually putting themselves first in that kind of way?
Most times we always put ourselves second place. So we are so engrossing in providing, protecting, and getting things done that we often put ourselves second place, and that is where the problem is. That is where we put ourselves in this stressful situation. How do we get out of it? You take that time away from everyone. Set aside a time in your busy schedule. Incorporate that in that schedule, and that is where we make the mistake. We tend to set aside a time to distress instead of incorporating that distress time in our normal activities. And perfect example, just like what we just said, in your lunchtime, right? So a lot of us would work through our lunch so that we are always in this stressful environment. To let us take time out in our normal activities, find a little safe space in our job. Sometimes it could just be on the corridor. It could just be just take a little walk outside just to distress and come back.
So we can integrate it in our daily lives. We don't have to plan a whole month of I'm getting away from this place for a month because I can't take it anymore. You can literally do a 5 minutes per day to get yourself into a good mental space.
Yes. No, you can do both. But many times we would wait until we have this long holiday before we decide to distress, right? Even though doing that is good, but we also need to find nice little pockets of time during the day in our busy schedule in order to distress, especially us as men.
And you know, men, they don't really talk. Men are not like women. If girls get together, oh my goodness, we could talk for hours on end, sometimes about things that make sense and things that of it no consequence. Do you see men coming together as buddies and just sitting down over perhaps a drink, a game of cards or something, and talking about the situations that keep them in a place that they just feel heavy and burdened?
Yes, that is a very, very, very good thing to do to distress. Playing sports, right? Either playing sports or looking at sports. I love to do both.
Oh yeah, we know.
Right? I love to play sports. I love to look at sports. I know for those who love to look at sports, I want to say a special good morning to all the Manchester United fans.
I knew this was coming.
Arsenal fans and by extension Chelsea fans. I have to plug that in today. I know that this season is extremely stressful for them, but for the Liverpool fans like me, we are cool and calm and relax for this season and on to the next. But the point is that these are some nice activities that you can do. Walking. I've been to Combie, and that nice strip along that Combie area, that's a lovely place that you could just walk and relax. Going up to French Fort, there's a nice place. Riding, I must commend the people of Plymouth. I notice that every time I drive through Plymouth, we have people, I see adults riding. And that's a really, 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 really good thing. And now I'm seeing the younger people now modifying their bikes so that these are activities that guys could get into that they love away from their work, right? That would help them to distress and by extension, being healthy. So finding healthy activities that would help you distress is so excellent. But activities like alcohol abuse and drug abuse should not be used to distress, but healthy activities, we can use that.
I'm happy that you brought that. I wasn't expecting that, but that you brought that into the equation as well, because sometimes we use what we call coping mechanisms, like the alcohol and the whatever, as you're mentioning. But there are also healthy ways for people to kind of cope and integrate themselves back into a healthy place to ensure that, you know, you're doing kind of okay, because the demands of life are so many that sometimes we really need to get in a good place. So I just want to go over the 4 main points you spoke about this morning so that our men and women also, who are supposed to be supporting our men, can understand the things that they need to ensure that they're in a good space mentally.
Okay, the first one is setting a good deadline, right? That's setting achievable deadlines. That's 1. 2, finding a safe space in order to get away from stressful environments in order to distress. The third one is to find a healthy activity that would also help you to distress. And I want to just plug in one more thing: sleep. We always sacrifice sleep, so we would set up late in the night, doing what I don't know. Listen, we always on our phones, then we always on the TV, and then by the time we turn around, it's wee hours in the morning, and then we get up early because our day is so stressful, and we sacrifice sleep. And sleep is really, 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 really important. So that is something that we also need to do. We must also have adequate rest as well.
Very, very, very relatable things that you can do, that you can put in, and it doesn't cost anything. I didn't see any expense here based on what you're talking about. Set a deadline, find some place to de-stress. These are things you don't have to pay for. Ladies and gentlemen, are we speaking with Mr. Roston Wood? He is a physiotherapist, and we're talking about men's mental health awareness and things that men can do to de-stress. I know sometimes it's more difficult for men, because women, we will talk, and we feel better after we're talking, but sometimes men bottle it up. But these are some things that men can do to ensure that they can de-stress, and you can integrate it into your daily lives. Lunchtime, instead of eating your lunch by your desk, go outside. You can even take a stroll around the building. If you can't get to the beach or whatever, perhaps you don't have a car, walk down the hill, walk back up, something. Just breathe in that fresh air during the day and just take your mind off the demands of the day. So those are some of the things you can do to ensure that you're in a good mental space. And for the women, for the men in your life, make sure that you are that support for them. Make sure that you provide a space where they can feel comfortable and relaxed to be who they are. Remember, when a man is in his full potential, we women, our lives are so much easier. So let's support them and let them do what they need to do with as little stress as possible. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio this morning. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.